when I feel into how I witness humanity relating to the world around itself and what the impacts and outcomes of our mentalities are, and our mentalities are based on the language that we use, I can see that it hasn't been working. And so then I feel, well, would it be relevant to change our orientations around life in order to get us out of this conundrum that we're forcing ourselves further into? And I feel, yeah, that is relevant, because we are wired for life. We are wired for communion with life. We are wired for community with each other. We are wired for prosperity, joy, abundance, collaboration, all of the beautiful affirmative things that everybody would say, yay, I'm in favor of that. And so if language is unawareingly in most people actually restricting them to a degree from really connecting, because we haven't put words to certain intrinsic relationships and ways of relating. Well, without the words, they can't relate. And there's a beautiful analogy to that, or at least a story, I would say, of when Columbus, had his clipper ships out on the Mexican Riviera over there, I think it was. And the story goes that the Indians weren't able to see the ships. But there was a shaman that noticed that there were some weird ripples on the waters. And he meditated on that. It wasn't part of his consciousness. They didn't have a word for it. And guess what? He, in the beginning, couldn't even see it. But his open curiosity and his willingness to come into awareness. Now, this is, wow. That sentence alone, you should pull apart.
The willingness.
The willingness to come into awareness of something that he witnessed that was out of the natural norm, out of the natural order, allowed him to perceive. But then he was there with the challenge to help the others see what he came to realize was existing. And so he had to find language to describe it, because when he was saying, come on, now look over there, you see that, you see it. Well, they all weren't able to see it until he put language to what there was to see. And this also works similarly in hypnosis, where large groups of people can just be spellcasted. And because something doesn't exist in their perceived reality, because it isn't named, it doesn't show up. We've been programmed, unfortunately, substantially, to a very reductive and deductive way of seeing life. And that's all part of our languaging. But our languaging is just an expression of where we are at the moment as a human species. And so I feel that it's a very healthy and ripe time to where we are now to relate around this, so that we can start getting curious, like, wow, there's some realness in this, and what can I do to reactivate these faculties of self-knowing and relating to life, so that I could actually get myself out of this programmed matrix at some point. And it's entirely possible. Syntropic agroforestry would be an amazing starting point, because that's the study of nature.